Hey, everybody, welcome to tonight's Late Night Happy Hour. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, joined by Dave Schilling. He is, as we say here, he is a writer, he is a host, he is the internet's best dressed man.
I mean, they took the poll, they voted. It wasn't me who said this.
And by the way, Dave,
chose me.
We took the liberty of trademarking this for you. You can see. So this was our gift to you because you've been good to us. We've given you this title. It is trademarked. It is yours.
Right. I believe this is legally, this is good. This is all you need. You can start using this.
Yeah, and no court in the land would say that this is not 100% my property.
Well, I mean,
this is
it's not like you can cut and paste a TM next to a statement that you write there.
Yeah, no, you have to search for that on the internet.
I mean,
if you want to use that.
It took me a good 10 seconds.
Yeah, there's no keystrokes for that.
I actually don't know the keystrokes. Are there keystrokes
for the trademark thing?
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I just figured out how to do Schroeder, to make the umlaut work.
Yeah,
that was my big dig into next level keyboarding.
So I'm in a couple NBA group chats. One that's kind of multiple types of fans, and one that's just Laker fans. And I just call him Dennis in those group chats. I'm not going to try to hold down the O and then find that I don't care. It's fine. I'm okay.
I mean, easy for
Dennis.
you to say.
You know who I mean when I say Dennis. Dennis Hastert, former Speaker of the House.
Wow, that's both a poll.
Who had, it should be known, surprisingly tight handles.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I mean,
I'm gonna just move on from that.
Yeah, Brian, I think you may not be remembering everything that went on.
Tripping over.
I think you're going to do a Google search and regret that phrasing.
Oh shit, that guy.
Yes.
Oh, he was a bad person.
Legitimately evil. Yeah. It's not like one of those, if you're a conservative. No, he's a bad guy. He was a bad guy.
No, this should be a bipartisan opinion.
Yeah. I hope you can find some common ground on Dennis Hastert being a bad person.
Yeah.
You know what? You should have said Dennis Haskins. That would have been better.
I thought about it, but I was like, I'm going to go for a really obscure reference. Anybody remember Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, that's true. I've actually seen Dennis Haskins out a few times.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
No, actually, well, I'm glad you said that first because I didn't necessarily want to go there, but no.
He just seems like the kind of person who rolls out of bed and then just keeps rolling.
I used to see him. I used to take an improv class in Burbank, and afterwards, students would always.
We all?
Yeah, I was going to say, really.
Again, with Dennis Haskins, not Denny Hastert.
Yeah.
No, Dennis Hastert was not in my improv class. No, that's a no and right there. But I remember that Dennis Haskins used to see him at this one karaoke bar in Burbank that we'd often go to after class, and he looked like he may have just rolled out of the house straight to this place, but he rolled there at about 11 a.m.
Yeah, he looks like an actual log. Log rolling down the street. Poor guy. I mean, I'm sure he's fine. Is he in the reboot of Saved by the Bell?
If they ask him, the answer is yes. I mean,
did they ask him though?
Right. That's the only reason he wouldn't be is if they didn't ask. It's very similar to I forget the actress's name who plays Eddie Murphy's wife in Coming to America.
Exactly why they didn't ask her to come back.
No, they did. Well, no, but she's in the second one, which we're going to talk about over the course of the show.
Oh, I assumed she wasn't. That's good.
But I feel like the only reason she wouldn't have been in it, wouldn't have said yes, is if just they didn't ask. It's like she hadn't done a whole lot since then.
Yeah. Not because she's bad in the movie. I don't want to disparage her abilities. It's just that, she didn't. Now, we could talk about the reasons why somebody of her persuasion doesn't get more parts. And I'm sure we'll get into that eventually. But that's probably part of it, is black women in Hollywood have a hard time even today getting parts.
Yeah, I mean, even for a movie that they helped originate, like you would think at that point it becomes a gimme.
Yeah, it's not a gimme. It's never a gimme for black people in Hollywood. I'll say that.
No, and that's also something we're going to end up getting into because you, our friend, are involved in a very big project that dropped today.
Yes, thank you.
Very exciting. It's called Black Renaissance, the art and soul of our stories. The executive producer, I hear she's gaining some traction in Hollywood.
Oh, who? Who's getting traction in Hollywood?
Ava, somebody. I've heard she's doing okay.
Ava Duvernay.
Yeah, I hear
he did not work on this.
She didn't.
No, I would know. I worked on it. I
thought I saw her in the credits.
We don't all look the same.
No. I did research on this. I thought I actually
suddenly someone's Denny Hastert mistake doesn't seem so bad, does it?
No. I'm actually now really mad.
I don't record any of my shows this late at night.
I'm actually kind of mad that I wasted time looking up some stuff in her IMDb now.
Well, we can still talk about Ava DuVernay as much as you want.
No. I
loved Selma.
I know. I just thought that she was. I thought that actually when I first heard that you were in this, I clearly misremember that she was involved with it, and I didn't bother.
She passed on it.
She passed.
She passed.
Maybe that's what I remember.
Why would you know that?
I don't know. That's my point. There's something about this that I knew that she had some type of connection.
She had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there are important people, though.
Yes. Okay, I'll do the pitching here then.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us about it? Then we can play a clip.
9-minute special that pays tribute to Black history through the lens of art and creativity, and we have an amazing cast of guests that come in and provide commentary in their musical performances and all the comedy, all that stuff. Both Barack and Michelle Obama are in this. Stacey Abrams. Nas. Killer Mike.
Look how carefully now he's naming the people who are in it. He's like,
well, I've got my list, and now I've not only got my list, I watched the damn thing, and now I don't trust myself.
But definitely not Ava DuVernay.
No.
How did I end up on that? I'm genuinely confused now.
I'm concerned for your mental state.
I am. I'm also very concerned about my mental state. It's very good. You know what?
Should we show people a little piece of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
My favorite book.
I thought you were going to fast forward to the credits never mind.
Right. I read it. And
I mean, we can.
I was like,
no, don't do that.
This is what real life is. But by that age, I had already started having interactions because of race. And that book was like the first time, other than my family, I was like, yo, Black people all over the country are going through stuff. And this is what we go through. And it kind of connected me to my Blackness.
I Don't Want to Die Poor by Michael Arsenault is like a dope collection of, stories and essays and stuff like that. He makes these like kind of like sad situations, like, student loan debt and like, everyday problems, like finds humor in them.
When I first started acting, I discovered A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. There's so many wonderful Black playwrights. I just really admire Black women who are fearless. I love those women for making a space for me. I think the most powerful word in the English language is the word no, because no is a full sentence. It's also one word. We spend a lot of time trying to explain to people why you're saying no, but you don't have to. You can truly just say, no, and that's the end of the sentence.
The word that has the most power in the English language is yes.
I think the word that has the most power in the human language is help. It's such a powerful word. It's one of the hardest words for people to say. It's hard because of pride and because of some situations for people to ask for help.
I think I realized how powerful words can be when I said the word bitch in front of my mother and she was like, what did you say? And I was like, oh, she mad at me.
I realized the power of words very early on with my jokes and with my impressions and whatever. My dad would make me get up and do impersonations of all of my uncles in their various stages of drunkenness.
Being funny can save your life sometimes, because I was in the Bronx house of detention. I was in a 40-man cell. And you know what? Those people got the tightest 2 days of comedy I've ever done in my life. I tell you what. Because that's what you got to do. We're just sitting there, ain't no TV. So I'm cracking jokes. And I just remember people were just like, they were like, yo, you're funny. You're funny. I'm going to keep my eye out for you. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention I learned the power of words from where? Hip-hop,
Real
hip-hop,
hip-hop.
real hip-hop.
You know what I'm saying?
You know that you're shout out to Nas. First time I heard Illmatic, I was like,
Whoa.
yo, the lyrics. Whoa.
So if you want to watch the rest of this,
Right? No, that's it.
but wait till after this show is over.
What I think is great, Dave, is that you did all of this without Ava Duvernay even lifting a damn finger. Like,
Really
I mean, and you still did it.
Very impressive.
I DM'd her. I sent her letters, cards, flowers, chocolates, all these things. Just say, please, can you do anything on this? Can you just like, can you put your name on it? Can you bless this show?
Nope.
And she's just like, I don't think so. I would rather not, and then embarrass Andy and Brian on the air.
Well, you know what? First of all,
No,
I'm going to embarrass
Not
the
Brian,
Kamenetsky
just
brothers.
Andy.
First of all, I'd be embarrassing myself at some point over the show regardless. So she might as well have gotten involved. Second of all, 1 hour, 21 minutes, 49 seconds. If you are looking to see Dave Schilling's name, co-executive producer,
Here it is.
1 hour, 21 minutes, 49 at the end.
I had this idea for a bit where I would be like, hey guys, check it out. I worked on this cool thing. It's on YouTube. Here's the link. And of course the link just goes straight to the end. But I thought that was dumb. I want people to watch the whole thing.
So explain to people exactly what was your role on this? Like what did it entail? Like what was part of the creative process for you?
Well, for something like this, which is essentially a variety show, you have to figure out what it is. Like, what is this going to be? You could have the idea of, this is going to be a show about Black history. Okay, but what about Black history? What parts of Black history are you going to focus on? How do you organize it? How do you then, write the copy that people are going to say? Who's going to be in it? What's it going to look like from a graphical standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint? Everything. I was a part of everything other than like color timing it and doing the sound mix. I was involved in a little bit of everything on this show, from the beginning to the end. It was a long process of just trying to decide, like, what do you say about Black history that hasn't been said a million times? Because guess what, guys? Black History Month is every year. So there's one of these things every year that somebody's doing. So what do you do?
Much to the chagrin of some people, they keep bringing it back every year.
Why do they got to keep doing this? It's sort of like the All-Star game.
It keeps getting renewed.
Why are they still doing the All-Star game? They're the same stars every year.
No, so in deciding then, how you want to tell the stories in particular that you wanted to get into, what did you focus on, and like what were you looking for in terms of either through lines, presentation, that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, the guiding principle for me was always like, Black people often don't have a voice in American society and in the world. The oppression and systemic racism are real things. And so how do Black people communicate, not just with each other, but to the world? And it's through art. It's through poetry. It's through photography. It's through music. It's through dance. It's through sports and sports activism. There's a really great film in somewhere in the middle of the show, narrated by Jamel Hill, talking about sports activism and the need for people to speak up. And that's again in the news. Shockingly, again in the news, someone, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, says, LeBron James should stop talking about
this came up tonight.
And LeBron brought it up in his post-game press conference and really tore a new one into Zlatan. LeBron is a remarkable man, and he's constantly being told these things. And we always have to say, as the Black community in America, no, we're going to continue talking about this. We have to. It's a matter of life and death for some people. And so that was the guiding principle for me with this show is every time we're talking about a piece of art, we're talking about a song, a movie, a comedian, it needs to be something that changed the world, that moved people, and that expressed a truth and a reality about the experience of being Black in the world.
It's. I mean, there's a lot. I'm trying to think of where to begin unpacking, because there's a lot there.
I thought one of the things that you guys that you did this in this clip that was interesting was talking about language, and the three choices that came up in that segment for what is the most powerful word, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll get into tonight that's a lot more frivolous than this. I thought it was fascinating that the three words that came up with yes, no, and help. And I understood the context in all of them. I would have probably said yes if somebody asks me that question. I feel like yes, you can say yes, like it opens up the doors, but contextually, no, at least to me, made sense, particularly from a Black woman. Like that to me is like, okay, when she started to explain why no was so powerful, I kind of got it. Like it made sense to me. I obviously help is in and of itself. Like what did the selection of those three words, very simple words, mean when you heard it and they put that together?
Well, I mean, it was all happenstance. It was a question that I asked Desus and Mero, and then I asked Nicole Byer that question later when we did the interview with her, and she just happened to say no. It was really great. When you come up with these questions and you try to have them cut together, and hopefully there's some sort of meaning to the three answers. There was, and it was just because that's what people say. Like there was no, I couldn't have made that happen. It could only happen because that's what they wanted to say.
No, the only person who could have made that happen is Ava Duvernay, and she refused.
What though?
She really wasn't needed.
She just was unwilling to.
I am busy. She's a busy person, an incredibly talented, smart, busy person. And
I also want to make sure too. By the way,
I'm good.
I want to make sure too that we don't drive this into the ground and guarantee that Dave never works with her.
It's fine. No. I'll consider it hard. I just say I'm sorry. I'm sure you saw this and you hated it, and you think I'm cool, but I'm not. I'm great.
It would mean a feather in our cap because, it means she's watching the show, which is obviously.
She follows me on Twitter, so you never know. She would. Oh, there's that guy. That guy who did that show I didn't want to do.
I think honestly, man, that's what I'm thinking of. But what are you gonna do? There's a line in there, and I can't remember off the top of my head who says it, but that Black culture is the oxygen of the world. It gives breath to everything and everyone, and it really stood out to me just because beyond it just being powerful, like knowing the history in this country of just co-opting and monetizing Black culture, often repurposed under the cover of whiteness. When you talk about blues, evolving into rock, or the way rap went from being this dangerous force to the point where politicians and government officials were speaking out about it, to this money-making force once, white suburbans accepted it. And then, you could see the money that came from, or even something like Black Lives Matter and the protests over the summer, where you saw white people marching and protesting alongside Black people, which is great, but then inevitably trying too much to become front and center and not listening enough, not asking questions, just finding out how you can help and just shutting up because it's not their movement to lead. And that line just really got to me. Just that idea of it providing life, but then what we do with it, and how it's not appreciated from where it actually originates.
Yeah, I mean that was part of the mission statement here, is to say, think about all these things that you love, and what is the common denominator there, and that is Black culture. And that's not to say that Black culture is better than anybody else's culture, that it is superior, because that would be fallacious and wrong and not good. But it is important, and it is, Black expression is part of all pop culture. Everything.
Yes.
Everything that we watch, everything that we listen to, everything that we enjoy, the athletes that we watch, play sports, a lot of them are African American, or people from the rest of the diaspora. You have to recognize that, and if you recognize that, hopefully you can start to recognize the humanity of every Black person, because that is a thing that is lacking in our society right now, and we see it every day on the news, that people don't recognize the humanity of Black men and women in this country. And hopefully by seeing how powerful their words are and how powerful their expression and their creativity is, you will start to see them as human beings.
What was it like? Sorry, Brian. What was it like? What was it like for you, just as somebody with a background writing in comedy, to just be around people like Disa Zamero or Nicole Byer, who are just really, really funny people, and and really have their own unique perspective on comedy, just like being around them and sort of getting a better idea of how they work or just how they see the world?
It's sort of like hanging out with you guys at a Laker game.
that bad, huh?
Many
uninspiring.
Many people have compared the experience of us to comparing out to hanging out with Disa and Mero. It's exactly what people say all the time.
Similar, you guys. And no, it's different when you're doing something like this and it's via a Zoom call. It's not quite the same. You can't develop a rapport with anybody. You have conversations and stuff, but I mean, it's great to see people who are talented, but also have, they have an intellect about what they do, and they have a perspective on what they do and what their work means. It's great, but it's not too dissimilar to being a sports writer, which is something that you guys know I did for a little bit. And you're in the locker room and you're asking Montrezl Harrell a question, and maybe he'd rather be doing anything else. But you go out of your way to try to get something good, and you try to ingratiate yourself to that person. And it's difficult, actually. It's difficult to ingratiate yourself to somebody for a brief period of time. It's not quite as difficult as getting a good answer from somebody when they're getting dressed. They're putting on their watch. They're looking at their phone. They're trying to figure out where they're going to eat dinner later.
There's got to be a better way to do this than the way we've been doing it for so long. Like, it's just such a dumb system when you really think about the idea of trying to get something useful and thoughtful from these athletes. It's the setup is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, that's what I like about show business more than I like about sports writing, is when you're working with someone, there is the expectation that there will be a transference, that everybody's working, and we all need to just do the thing that we need to do. We're all going the same direction because everybody's getting paid at the same time. With sports writing, you wait till after the game is over. You line up in a big pile of sweaty men. Sometimes there's a woman there, but sports writing is a mostly misogynistic activity. And then you go into a locker room, and it's like, okay, well, why don't you make conversation with one of these guys, but don't talk to that person. Don't you dare talk to that person, because he's not available today. How would I know? Well, I just told you, but I just never mind. Just keep moving. Hey, do you mind if I ask you a question? Or like you see the people who do it really well. They're like, hey, I got some pictures of my kid. You want to check out my pictures of my kid? Oh, what's your kid like? Oh, okay. Do you play golf? I play golf. Anyway, so you guys lost by 57 points tonight. What's wrong with you? Why are you guys so bad? It's just like, it felt gross to me. And the people that are good at it, and they don't have that thought of, this is gross. That I'm kind of leeching off of these people. And I'm like, oh, I just have to wait for the right time to ask my question. I was never good at it, and it felt artificial and silly. But with show business stuff, making TV shows and things of that nature, everybody's kind of trying. Everybody's trying to work together, and athletes do not want to talk to you. They hate talking to journalists most of the time. They just want to go to the club. They just want to get dinner. They want a glass of wine. They want to go to bed because they have to go to practice in the morning. They don't want to talk to you or me or anybody else.
It does mean something if you're looking forward to the sort of genuine refreshingness of working in Hollywood.
God, everybody's just so real. It's not that, it's that the athletes are real.
Right.
Athletes are the real ones because they're the ones who are like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Who is this nerd who's talking things about me in the paper or on the internet? I don't want to talk to him. But it's also everyone's like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I mean, like tonight's a great example. Like Damian Lillard is, I don't know where he would land on your list. Like I don't think he's the best player in the NBA, but if you said you can pick only one guy to watch every night for the rest of the season, I'd probably pick Dame just because he's that much fun to watch play. Between the actual quality of his game, the swagger, this, that, whatever. But he goes and he loses, and the Blazers might disappoint at the end of the year. Like whatever it is, like Damian Lillard's gonna have to sit there and answer questions from people like me about like why he can't get to the next level. Dame, why haven't you been able to achieve what I think you ought to be able to, despite the fact you are obviously monumental? Like the stuff that they have to put up with from people who can't even kind of do what they do or understand what it is to do what they do. I'm surprised we don't get punched more often than we do, to be honest.
Well, they used to do that. Baseball journalists and baseball players were getting into all kinds of scrums and stuff back in the day. I don't understand it. I think it's weird. I think it's weird that we have to expect these players to talk about the worst night of their life. Imagine if somebody stuck a microphone in your face after a pickup game where you guys lost by 2 points and everybody's ragging on you for missing the last shot of the game.
I would wonder why. I would wonder why they were at the Y, but that's different.
Please leave this children's community center or whatever.
More Newsday, eh?
Why do you leave? What's wrong with you?
I remember I was at the 2008 finals, where the Lakers lost that awful game 6 against Boston. They lost by 39 points. Going in that locker room to ask guys questions, as you were saying, like it felt gross, but also it felt ridiculous because every single question I would possibly ask them, I knew the answer to already. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to get some soundbite that I'm sure if I went up to all of them and said, look, if I just make up something reasonable enough that you said, would you be cool with it so I could go away? They all would have said, sure.
Yeah,
like if it means me getting out of here 30 minutes earlier and not having to take any of these questions, just say something that sounds like I would say, and we'll call it even. Like it felt so awkward asking them about this, just being in their space.
Yeah, it's an intimate experience,
right,
between strangers. Like if you're a beat writer, you're going to take the time to get to know the players on some level. But it's never going to be anything where that experience is normal. Your wife or your children or your mom or your dad is going to be there for the worst night of your life. Not me. I might as well be the DoorDash guy.
But I mean, it is sort of the equivalent.
They'd be happy to see you.
They'd be happier to see me if I was a DoorDash guy. You're right.
If I approach somebody like after, it's like the scenario Andy's talking about is like is if I came up to somebody after a funeral as they're leaving the cemetery.
Your dad being dead.
So, can you just break down, like, what was your mindset, as the rabbi started the Kaddish?
What could you have done differently to prevent your father from having a heart attack? Well, if I hadn't kept feeding him all those pizzas, but unfortunately, you can't take it back. It's just it's what's done is done, and there's always next year. No, I don't know what I'm going to do about my free agency.
I mean, at this point,
I'm going to take a vacation and spend time with my wife and talk to my agent, and we'll see what happens.
I don't know what new family I'm going to join. Moving forward.
Looking for another father, possibly in Miami. I feel like they have a good organization there, and I like the weather. It really comes down to commitment and if we're going to win a championship or not.
But it is intrusive in that way. Before we get to Anthony Davis, the big news on Anthony Davis, which is not really about his leg. We know everything we need to know about his leg. He's going to come back after the All-Star break, at which point, honestly, we can look. Lakers had a nice win tonight over Portland. Stop the losing streak. They look much better with Dennis Schroeder than without Dennis Schroeder. I think we learned that tonight. But the question of Lillard, like, where do you have him on your fun list? I'm just curious.
Fun list. Oh, I mean, he's definitely fun. Westbrook is still kind of fun sometimes. Washington's been on a little bit of a streak, so they can be fun. I'm
not entirely sure that was the question I was going to ask. I think I forgot it about halfway through, but that's okay.
We talked about the Lillard in the fun list, so I thought that was that seemed like it was the right question to ask.
It was where the plane landed, to be perfect.
Right. Los Jiv Jeff from the Lauer After Hours podcast. Fun list sounds dirty. He's right. It does. The fun list definitely sounds dirty.
What's James Harden's fun list in Brooklyn right now, you think?
I think he's trying to make it as similar as it was in Houston and Atlanta and everywhere else he trains.
Yeah, my man. I think James Harden is the least fun player in the NBA, but I'm sure everybody agrees with me on that one.
I completely agree.
I realize this may actually legitimately make me a bad person. I enjoy watching James Harden play.
You just like dribbling. I love
I do.
I agree.
I think that the most fun player in the NBA is and always will be Stephen Curry.
Yes.
There is nobody who does what he does quite the way that he does. And he's a pleasure to watch. When the Warriors are clicking as a unit, he's even more fun to watch. But as an individual player, nobody touches him.
You know what's interesting about that, though, is because I completely agree with you. Steph is incredibly fun to watch play. And I also agree with you that James Harden, obviously a great player in terms of pure talent, I find incredibly not fun to watch. And I think a lot of that comes down to energy and presentation and vibe, because there are certain similarities in how they actually go about doing what they do on the court. One of them, though, puts out this energy of just positivity, whereas like James Harden, an entire game feels like he's being put upon, like when he goes out there and actually dribbles and scores.
How dare you make me play this game of basketball?
Seriously, am I wrong? like
not wrong at all. He seems not bored, but like he's a hostage. Like
yes.
There's wife and child kidnapped, and unless he beats the Pistons tonight, they're going to be executed. That's what it seems like. All right, well, Cheryl and little Jimmy, I'm winning it for them.
There is a certain part of it that does seem sort of vaguely contemptful of the task that we've given him for that evening.
Like every time he starts dribbling, like there's his body language, like Jesus, I got to do this again.
You know what, I'm leaning into Brooklyn. Brooklyn Harden is a little different. It's 14 assists a night. It's a little more fun.
But he's always put up assists. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not even saying he's selfish. I'm saying
he doesn't dribble as much. It is a bad energy. I don't think the hair helps.
I think it's he's got one of those faces. This is kind of like
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, it's
Like-
he's not. I'm not making fun of him. He just looks like.
Serious question. I'm thinking about this now, and I can't come up with an answer.
James
Have
Harden.
you ever seen James Harden smile?
Yeah,
sure.
I
Absolutely.
actually have.
Come on.
I
No,
have a
no, no,
story. I have a story here.
Please.
I interviewed James Harden at the All-Star game when it was in Los Angeles the last time. What was that? 2018? Was that 2018?
Yeah,
And-
that sounds about right.
It's either 2018, 2017. And James Harden was at an Xbox event. It was one of those like, hey, come play our game, and it's going to be so awesome.
Yeah,
And
Andy.
James Harden is going to be available for interviews, and you just have to ask him one or two questions about Xbox. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to ask James Harden a bunch of questions about fashion because I'm writing a piece about fashion for Bleacher Report. And when I was like, okay, we're just be talking about clothes today, he's like, what? Yes, okay, I love clothes. And I'm like, cool, me too.
I also like clothes.
Is that a direct quote? I love clothes.
No, he's just like, man, I just love thinking about what to wear every day. I just kind of vibe with it. I feel it. And
A cursory Google search, Andy, reveals
Lots
that
of
James
smiles.
Harden smiles all the time.
I think some of those are deep fakes.
Look at that. I mean, and these are very recent. Many of these are very recent. This one is him smiling in college.
Well, oh my God, we're going back to ASU.
But I'm
Come
saying,
on.
but like this is him smiling with Daryl Morey.
Yeah.
Smiling opposite Jalen Rose. I mean, he's
I'm
smiling
simply
all over the
saying-
damn place.
I'm
That
saying,
is not
there's,
James Harden.
yeah, there's Tyler Hero.
That's Tyler Hero.
he's happy
I'm
too.
just
Look
saying,
at that.
I
Wearing
had
goggles
never.
and smiling at a museum.
I'm saying I had never seen him smile during a game. That is me. And I said, I'm not saying this to take a dig at him. I really was asking because like I had not before. Whereas there are most players, even ones that I don't cover, that I've seen smile more often than James Harden. Like James Harden, I don't think most people would say is a smiley presence.
It's not smiles. He doesn't have an energy. He doesn't have a fire. Steph Curry has this like passion.
Yes.
When he makes a three, he gets pumped up. When LeBron does something great, he gets pumped up. And he responds to the crowd. He reacts to, when there is a crowd, the energy in the building. James Harden, the most you're going to get out of him is one of these. And then he's like, all right.
I just showed you what you're going to get out of James Harden. Smiling James Harden.
I got fouled. That's what you get. Harden. Oh.
I got fouled.
Basically, what you're saying is James Harden has a interviewing people after the funeral kind of of energy. It's just that's how it works. You, as we note here in our banner, are the internet's best dressed man. Here, I believe this is you.
That was today.
This is today.
Yes.
On
that poster right there.
For
baby.
That's the Buffalo Wild Wings outfit.
As I'm taking that to the B-dubs for sure. Oh, yeah.
That is
get all kinds of sauces on that thing.
that
wing
is
sauce all over that jacket.
Now, also though, we wanted to bring up because I mean that is a great look, and you are often posting. Yeah, we don't have to tell you. You're often posting your looks, and they're often very good. You had sent out this tweet earlier today, and says, "I don't think you have to spend a lot of money to dress well. There are tons of ways to develop personal style without being rich. The most important thing is to be happy with what you're wearing."
It's true.
How do you determine, do you think, like, how do you think somebody figures out what their style is? Because I think for some people that would be more difficult to like know than
not everyone's going to land on that.
Right. Not everybody would have the
time.
confidence. But, you know, Dave, we live in a fast-paced world. Not everybody has time.
Okay, well then if you're happy not wearing anything other than sweats, that's fine. I'm not trying to criticize people for how they dress.
No.
There are things that I don't like. And that guy deleted the tweet that I was referring to. Because he was like,
what was it?
Well, he just generally the vibe was, I'm sure you're a great guy. I love listening to you on podcasts and stuff, But I feel like you're a snob about clothes, and you make people who don't have a lot of money feel bad. And I was like, you don't have to have money to dress well. You can go shop at Old Navy or the Gap, or you can get stuff from Target that are it's going to look good and flattering on you. It's not about how much money you spend on things. It's not about the label. It's not about anything. It's about feeling comfortable in it and it being flattering. There are a lot of people who wear clothes that are not flattering to their figure. That wear.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, because
or like, shirts that are too tight. Like, just think about how you look. That's all that matters. It's not about the money that you spend. The fact that I spend a lot of money on clothes makes me demented.
Right.
Okay? I'm the problem, not the solution. But I do encourage people to think about how they dress, to care about how they dress, and to develop a sense of personal style that goes beyond, well, I need to wear sweatpants every day, or I like these jeans. Like, think about it. Just think.
You had a thing, I
accidentally
tweeted over it, but you had a thing, and I'm going to pull it back up, about shoulder pads. Now, sometimes when I go through your Twitter handle, I don't always know if you're being serious or not.
Isn't talk about part of the fun.
Yes, it is for me, but I don't know for sure, because fashion is cyclical, and there are a lot of things that, once were fashionable that aren't considered fashionable now. And so when you started talking about shoulder pads in men's jackets, like suit jackets and things like that, I was not entirely sure if you were being serious or not. So first of all, are you kind of calling for the return of shoulder pads to menswear?
Not necessarily shoulder pads, but like, a broader top, like where there's some heft. Every jacket now is unstructured, and it's just like you either have shoulders or you don't. And I think that there should be more structure in jackets sometimes, and they should be maybe a little bit more of like a plate on your shoulders, I guess. I don't know. I think it looks good. I think it looks both nostalgic and kind of forward thinking. And
the avatar you use here is Martha Stewart.
Martha looks incredible. Look at her. What is like this with the Chuck Taylors and this double-breasted suit? Stunning. She is a beautiful, beautiful woman and a great dresser.
The most unlikely partner for Snoop Dogg ever.
Yeah, it's amazing they've been married for so long.
It is. If you had told people in like 1993, this guy Snoop, assuming he ends up beating this murder rap, he's going to end up doing a show with Martha Stewart, assuming she gets out of prison okay. I mean, like, it's just crazy. Like, the idea of those two together, and like sort of how image makeovers work, and the people who manage to pull it off, and then the people who never manage to do it at all. Like the idea that Snoop or Mike Tyson or, what Martha Stewart went through, Ice Cube now as a family friendly movie star. Like, it's crazy when you see these things evolve over decades. Like, nobody can see some of that stuff coming.
Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart is how I know racism is on the way out, folks. Okay? When you see these two together, it's like, yeah, the Proud Boys are done.
Even they get behind that one.
Hell yeah, that's cool. I want to see them uglies.
So, but like in the pantheon of cyclical fashion, I
haven't heard that phrase in a while.
The ESPN broadcast showed this picture.
Yeah, that's
in terms of suit wear. Now, like, is this something that should come back? Is this a look that needs to return?
I don't know. I mean, draft fashion of that era of the 2000s, to me, it looks bad. It's like some of those suit jackets had like 9 buttons just going up. And the monochromatic thing, like, you could find a way to, I think, take some of those jackets if you found them at a consignment store or something, and style them in a more contemporary fashion. And that's a thing that I was trying to point out about clothes, is you don't have to go buying brand new stuff all the time. You should look into buying things from the past, buying things from consignment stores, buying vintage pieces that you can experiment with and be creative with. Dressing up in fashion can be a creative expression, as opposed to like, well, I wear Christian Dior sneakers that just say Dior written all over them, or I've got a Gucci t-shirt that is purple and has a big tiger on the back. Like, that's not style. Okay. A lot of NBA players say that they're stylish people, and they just spend a lot of money and they look bad. Yeah.
See, now
looks fine there. I mean,
this has gotten a lot of it. 80s sweater game has been in the news like all week.
It's all right. Yeah, it's cool. I hate those jeans. Those ripped jeans. Good God. I hate jeans, though.
Yeah, I remember you the last time you were on with us.
I have a huge ass. Complain. Why do you talk about jeans? Why are you mean about jeans all the time? Jeans are cool. Great. I'm glad you get to wear jeans. My ass is too big, so I have to buy giant jeans that make me like the before photo Jared Fogle.
No.
Look at my pants. I don't know why the second the Jared and Dennis Hastert. Like, this is I'm not trying to make a point here about anything. Anyway, do you guys see that Woody Allen documentary? Or that one yet? Yeah, I don't like jeans. My tailor said I have a large seat. A large when I got to my wedding, and I was like, all right, well, I got to do something about this. Jeans are just like, they're snug.
Those is exact words. Large.
You got a large seat, young man. So we're gonna have to blow these pants out for you. We're gonna have to get more fabric from Italy and ship it over so we can tape it to your pants. Big fat ass.
Taylor is
Miss Men's Warehouse. That's all I could afford right now.
Jesus, this guy is really out of control.
Hey, your ass is too goddamn big. So we're gonna get you one of those fat guy pants.
I mean, was this your first and last visit to him? I mean, it must have been terrible for your esteem.
Oh, yep, there I am.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we lost me for a second. We got me back.
Was he? I said, what did this guy do to your esteem? It's like right before your wedding, your tailor's telling you you're not going to look good during this thing.
If you see in this fat fuck, god damn it! Sorry, hit the F word.
It's okay.
Yeah, I forgot this isn't an ESPN thing anymore, so I could say fuck
as many F bombs as you want, Dave. It's fine.
It's actually 5 minimum.
Ahmad Youssef points out Andy is losing it. Andy never had it in tonight's episode. Andy's been a little bit on tilt from the beginning. Ahmed may have missed what we now refer to in the show vernacular as
Ava Duvernay
Gate.
So, Dave, what was it like to work with Ava? Ava Gardner? Okay. Andy? Was it Ava Gardner? No.
Okay.
Ava
at least
Duvernay.
I did not go that far in asking what it was like to work with her. I just thought she was a part of the project.
Not at all.
He just had to scrap the other questions he had about working with Denzel.
No, I know that
Jimmy
Denzel.
JJ Walker. Did you work with him? Gary Coleman. Lark Voorhees. No, he wasn't on the show. Stacey Dash. Yeah, no. Okay, well,
no,
I guess this is a CPAC invite list. Oh, my bad.
I was willing to go out on a limb that Stacey Dash was not a part of this, even behind the scenes. More of a silent partner.
Yeah, no, she is 100% at CPAC right now.
Oh my God, yes,
yeah, absolutely.
She is 100%. That saw some clips from that thing. That was
We don't have to talk about it. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Sad. Too sad to talk
It
about
is really, really nutty. So you're not into a 80s sweater game? Like it doesn't impress you? Because a lot of people.
It's just been a big deal. Like people have been talking about it a lot.
All right. I'm going to say it. If you're a skinny basketball player in impeccable shape, you'll look good in pretty much anything as long as it's snug. Like, yeah, he looks okay. He's not doing anything avant-garde or outrageous. Like Russell Westbrook, to me, is probably the top dresser in the league because he does strange things sometimes. He really he clearly has a sense of expression with the clothes that he wears, and he's thinking about, what am I saying when I dress up? LeBron is a classiest dresser. LeBron always looks impeccably put together, and he takes fewer risks than Russ, but he does more with what he's wearing than AD does. Or it's like, I'm gonna get an expensive sweater and some ripped jeans and expensive Jordans and then call it a day. All right, I mean, anyone can do that. Literally anybody can do what he did.
So you really appreciate when guys take risks.
Yeah, otherwise what's the point? It's just like, okay, yeah, I spent a bunch of money on some clothes. All right, cool. That's great. Yeah, it's a Givenchy sweater. Cool, man.
So then do you consider this like a risk? Like I'm asking seriously. Like in terms of when you make a choice. Right, but you are not as
I wouldn't
comfortable.
wear that shit. Are you kidding me?
But you are not as comfortable, I think, in terms of even low risk assessment as Dave. So I'm wondering, as somebody that is as used to dressing the way you do, would you look at something like that and still see an element of risk to it?
Yeah, I'm wearing a white tuxedo jacket.
I mean,
a bird could crap on me at any time.
The whole thing. Kyle Kuzma could get some blood on it.
This thing is ruined. Yeah.
I mean, if you saw Dave, if you saw Dave walking down the street in that outfit, you'd say, "Hey, Dave, how are you?" Because you know Dave. But if you didn't know Dave, you'd be like, "That guy's wearing a white tuxedo jacket over, whatever, and the loafers, and like that's a whole deal."
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, that's a risk.
If you saw Anthony Davis walking down the street in a sweater and ripped jeans and a pair of Jordans, you'd say, "There's Anthony Davis." You wouldn't say, "Whoa, Anthony Davis is dressed cool." You'd say, "There's true. Anthony Davis," because nothing he's doing is interesting.
Yeah,
there's a tweet again. There's a tweet again.
Yeah.
What can you do what's weird? Like, look at yourself in the mirror. If there's not one freaky thing that you're doing, then you're doing it wrong. Do something freaky. Actually, it's not wrong. I am going to say this again. I don't believe that there is a wrong. There is if you look unflattering or if you look boring. You're allowed to look boring. If you can look like that, you want.
Boring.
Great. Congratulations, Anthony Davis. You'll look fine.
No
one's going to be freaked out by what you're wearing or think you look like bad. You look fine.
I'm not sure. I wonder how much. Like then you would wonder with some guys how much they actually care, which is a whole other question.
Some of them do. I mean, I would say most of them do care because they talk about it.
Right. You are a person who knows a great deal about the filmography of Eddie Murphy.
Who also was not involved with this project, to the best of my knowledge.
Just add him to the list.
But I just feel like, yeah, actually he was. Yeah, schmuck.
No, he was not. He would have been listed in the front with all those guys.
Yes.
By the way, it felt like Michelle Obama got the "and" with the list of the people. Like towards the end, she was the last one listed.
She's the top Obama.
I know. I noticed that. It did not feel like an accident.
No. Yeah, she rules.
Yeah, that's a good get.
I know.
I am a little torn as somebody who loves the original Coming to America. What is your early feeling about this? Because we're gonna play the trailer, but I'm curious about your sense of what this movie is going to be.
I don't care. I'm not excited. We've been burned by so many of these like after the fact, decades later sequels. I love Eddie Murphy. I hope that he really tries with this and like the script is good, but I'm not chomping at the bit for this. I'm not thrilled that it exists. Some movies do not need sequels. the whole like, he's got a son. We've seen it. Harrison Ford's done 7 of these movies.
Yeah,
but it's fine. I mean, I love Eddie Murphy, so I will watch it when it comes out on Amazon. But yeah, I'm not like dying to see it.
Are you dying to see the trailer? Because we don't play that necessarily.
I didn't even watch the trailer. We could play the trailer. I just haven't seen it.
Because we can talk over it. That's the thing, too, is we do not have to sit
okay. Now we can play it. All right.
Yeah, we don't have to sit silently. I will turn the volume down.
Look at this. This looks terrible.
Yeah, you can say that. Unless Ava Duvernay had something to do with it, in which case we might not
I would never say a mean thing about her. She's wonderful. Anyway, let's play this trailer.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I got off of it because I was like, oh, Dave doesn't seem like he wants to see the trailer. So I stopped. But
do they ever do that on the Tonight Show? Or is it, I guess I guess Matthew McConaughey doesn't want to see the trailer, so we'll just do something else.
No.
So there we are. Here we are. That's the statue.
James Earl Jones is dead. I assume. All right. Another dance number.
Cool. To a male heir.
That's the sort of very Lion King. I think that was intentional.
You have a
he's
son. He must be
I thought he died in it.
We are going back to America. Oh, hell no, Your Majesty. Come on.
Yeah, here we go. Now, somebody pointed out something that I thought was very interesting. First of all, that's a very heavy airplane. That it is almost impossible to believe that these people in the barbershop would still be alive.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like, there's no possible chance that these people are alive.
No.
And by the way, look exactly the same. Like, that guy looks the same. They all look the same.
That guy.
Like, they're all dead. Like, already they're all dead. Like, this doesn't make any sense. How much time as a writer do you think they spent on that? Like, did anybody in the room when they were going through the script raise the question, somewhere in a production meeting or whatever, all of these people would be dead?
Absolutely not, because I think Eddie probably wanted to play them all again.
So that was the end of the conversation?
Yeah, it's like, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. Who cares if they're old? It's a comedy, guys. Let it go. It's fun.
Also, his counterpoint is, if I'm unhappy and I decide not to do this movie, there is no movie.
Yeah.
So
it feels like Eddie's trying really hard. He's playing all those characters again. Wesley Snipes was so funny in Dolomite, so I think he's probably going to bring it in this. I'm excited now.
And the two of them were great off each other. Yep. They were fantastic off each other.
It's stunning stuff.
To some degree, I feel like the playing of like 73 roles in the movie, in like the one movie where like, look, Eddie Murphy's an old Jewish guy. Look, Eddie Murphy's an old barber. Like, is the functional equivalent of these suits. Like I'm not, it maybe had a period of time where it worked, but now it just feels kind of shticky and dated. Like, I don't need to see Eddie Murphy play 17 characters in a movie anymore.
I do. And he's trying hard.
Yeah.
If he can do it, and he should do it. Well, he can when he's alive. Let him play every character for all I care.
He does actually, because Eddie Murphy, and this is by his own admission, has done a lot of just paychecks, sleepwalking through it. I mean, this is
so
Eddie
am
Murphy's
I, baby. You saw me covering the Lakers.
I consider that to be aspirational.
But Eddie Murphy's got a pretty good track record in terms of just trying when it comes to dual role movies. Mm-hmm. Like the original Coming to America, the original Nutty Professor, Bowfinger.
Clump.
Like when he
played 8 characters in the Clump.
That's trying. That is definitely trying. Yeah. So maybe that is a good sign. It's so funny. Like when I actually wrote a piece about this for The Athletic with Dolomite Is My Name, comparing it to like sort of LeBron's renaissance on defense last season that we hadn't seen in a while. Watching Eddie Murphy really bringing it and dialed in, you're just reminded, like, my God, that type of talent. Like, I mean, like, there's nothing like somebody like him when he is just completely there and invested.
Yeah, when he's locked in, he's the best. He's the actual best ever, in my opinion.
He was so good in that. Like he was so fantastic in Dolomite Is My Name. If people have not seen that, you definitely should. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? It's a pandemic, for Christ's sake. You ever watched Dolomite yet? This is so good.
It is phenomenal, dude.
Wait, we have one more thing.
Oh
What is
God,
the one
another
more
thing.
One more
Yeah.
clip. One more clip, Andy.
All right.
It's the best part of Dave's project.
Clip. One more clip. It's the
the best
credit.
part of the
It's a good.
project.
It's a funny joke, guys, because
It's
I
a
already
funny
made
joke.
it.
Here it is.
Hey, it's VC. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
see?
Fudge.
We workshopped your bit.
Fudge. Incredible. Thanks, guys. This is great.
No,
I
but man,
enjoyed talking about all of these things, and I
No,
enjoyed Andy's horrible faux pas.
it was horrible, but I rolled with it. You got to roll with it. You
You
make
did
a
not
mistake.
watch the show. You watched the show.
I did. I
So-
did. I'm telling you, Dave, what it was is from when you had originally told me that this thing was coming, because I remember you told me about it like, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months, something like that.
Sure.
For some reason, I thought Ava Duvernay was involved with it. And then I just kept that in my head. Like
Did I ever lead you to believe that she was?
I don't know. I'm not even putting this on you. I'm just saying for some reason I thought that it was.
There were all those emails you sent us entitled Ava Duvernay's Black Renaissance.
Ava! Exclamation mark.
And for some reason, I don't know what it was. For some reason, it stayed with me. Like, you know how occasionally you're incorrect about something and it just stays with you.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I did watch. I did watch it.
He is one of the 300,000 people today. That's really great.
300,000 page views?
Yeah, I've watched this thing. It's awesome.
Wow. That's more than Any Given Wednesday with Bill Simmons had its entire lifetime.
Boom.
What an actual data point.
Hey, got him again.
Well, anyway, Dave, you've been a wonderful friend to the show, and I am disappointed that you clearly will never come back.
Not that Simmons joke. No, he's gonna find me.
No, you're welcome to.
Me like Tanya Harding.
I feel like we didn't quite. Andy and I may have ruined this forever. But we had a good run with you, and we appreciate it.
Cheers. Guys.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention before?
Follow me on Twitter at Dave_Schilling. You saw my tweets 100 times during this, so you probably know where to find me. And
is the full court chat still going?
No.
It
was 2 seasons, just like The Office.
Well, it's still on Dave's Twitter bio. In fairness to me,
I'm taking that out.
Okay, well then you know what? You're welcome.
I will tell you one thing. This is something I haven't talked about much. I wrote a piece for the LA Times style section for next month about berets and the beret trend. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back in it. I'm back in journalism, baby, writing about berets. Anthony Davis, if you want to freak out your outfit, wear a beret.
I didn't know there was I did not realize they were back.
Yeah, well, you don't hang out in Silver Lake like I do.
I didn't realize they left. Are you on the beret beat now, or is this more of a one-off?
I'll be doing things periodically for the Times about fashion, but not just berets. Okay, it's not like come up with something else about the hat.
Don't put me in a box, Brian.
Yeah, no, don't put baby in the corner. From that movie, Dirty Dancing.
I know it very well.
Yeah.
All
right, man. Thank you.
It's the most uncomfortable end to a show we've ever had.
Once I did that joke about Any Given Wednesday, I was just like, no,
it's not. That wasn't it. I just felt like before you were
that was
more of like look, you can say whatever you want.
I will.
I felt like there were sections like we had the whole Eddie Murphy thing that was prepared, and you're like, I don't know if this is that I really care.
It's 11:04. I have a child. I'm sleepy.
Right.
Go to bed.
You're the best, Dave. Even if you no longer think we're the best,
right?
You're still the best to us. Appreciate it. Follow Dave Schilling on Twitter. Monday Ali Khan. You know him. Yes.
From the Food Network.
From the Food Network. He will be joining us on Monday, Tuesday. Anthony Slater.
We don't need to do the whole lineup.
Yeah,
Dave,
Trayvon Edwards.
I want to know.
Trayvon Edwards on Thursday. Steve Mason on Friday. Wednesday, TBD.
I love TBD.
We're going to see if Dave will come back.
Everyone enjoy your weekend. Doc, you need a